I don't think I've thought about Woodbine Centre in maybe 5 years since it was brought up. And the last time I did think about it, I think it was like the memory came to me, and then I had to do that thing where you're like, was that a place?
So when it comes to pictures of the inside, it looks super vintage. And I don't really know, like a lot of wood. I'm just saying there's a lot of wood because it's called Woodbine.
I would say Woodbine reminds me of nostalgia, just the feeling of nostalgia. So you know that like mall from Stranger Things? That's kind of how I see Woodbine. Just like very chaotic, but in a good way. And definitely a place that when you were younger, your parents would just take you there on the weekend and just go to that like little amusement park thing that you were telling me about. Fantasy Fair. Yes, that's the place. And I think it just sounds like a good time when you're too young to know what a good time could be. So I think that's what Woodbine is.
I think the first image that comes to mind is I don't know what they're called. The thing with the horses that go around, the merry-go-round, I think that's like the defining picture I have in my mind.
I think first, before you even really see it or smell it, that there's so many sounds coming out of Fantasy Fair. So it smells like, because there's also parts of it that have like water in it, but it smells kind of like water. No part of it smells bad, but it's such a distinct smell.
And the smell is the most particular thing, like that smell of, I know this sounds really weird, but the smell of kids' socks with like ice cream and donuts and popcorn, and the smell of McDonald's, all sort of intermingled. The smell and the sounds of the arcade, kids screaming and laughing, parents yelling, the sounds of the actual rides themselves, just a lot of smell and sensation.
And I used to love staring up because there's these like weird fake looking like windows and stuff. And I would love to just stare at them and be like, someone's gonna like open this and like I'm gonna like see something that no one else is noticing. It would never happen. There's also something really creepy about that.
Like I remember looking up and it's kind of like almost like a dark ceiling with giant pot lights. And I just remember that being really funny to me, that it's like the ceiling is like of an average warehouse type build, like mall building, and then the ground is like this munchkin-y village. It feels almost like the Gene Wilder Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, where they walk into the chocolate factory for the first time, and when you watch that movie now, you can tell it's like a sound stage. Like it felt like it was like a set of something put into an interior area.
And so in Fantasy Fair, there's like, it's like a big jungle gym kind of area that's all kind of connected, and you slowly like make your way up. And at the top, there's a slide, right, that will take you from the top of the jungle gym back to the bottom. See, as a kid, I hated going on the slide, or I was too scared to go on the slide. But my sister, not the one who's interviewing me, my other one, she would always go down the slide and always bully me and say that I'm too scared. I knew I had to do it, and so although I was scared out of my mind, I sat down on the slide. I went down, and at first it was scary, but once I reached the bottom, I realized it was much more fun than I would have ever thought.
Basically, there's this clown who would paint like the kids' faces, and so that was like the highlight of my trips, where like after we were done playing, after we got out of the sweaty jungle gym and like got like all our energy out of our system, we got pampered.
So essentially you're likening this clown's face painting skills to a spa experience. Yeah, I mean, I can see that. I loved the way the paintbrushes felt on my face too. It was quite smooth and cold and felt good. Definitely a spa-like experience.
And not to make it like philosophical or anything, but literally it was the first time I was being exposed to like art, you know? And I was always so amazed how this guy like was able to like make these like super intricate like little like butterflies on my face, and like use like all these colors and like use 2 colors at once.
And I was just walking around the mall, just thinking about when I was a kid, because like Eid and Woodbine Mall are like best friends in the Somali community. Like as a Somali Canadian, Woodbine has a whole different meaning because I would go there for both Eids. I just loved going there so much. It just felt so much bigger as a kid.
I always associate Woodbine to be like very much of like that immigrant experience. I don't know why. Maybe I just associate it because that's everyone that I saw around me. Everyone's just brown or South Asian or black, and that's sort of our form of entertainment. We just always go to Woodbine. I don't remember Chuck E. Cheese or other places as much as I did with the frequency and the regularity that we would go to Woodbine. Also considering that we lived in the area.
When I think of malls, I think escalators first. I like the escalators. It's like a little ride. If a place doesn't have Fantasy Fair, they have escalators. That's good enough for me.
Yeah, escalators in general. I mean, that's like a big mall thing that I love. Like the escalator is a really intimate spot accidentally. It's very strange. Like you're like a step below, you're like close together. And I thought about that even with a stranger. It's just the escalator all of a sudden feels like you're violating someone's space. And I think that's like so funny about the mall. I always get so mad when people are standing in the middle. I became that person at the mall that was like, stick to the right.
If you're not walking on the escalator, something's wrong with you. Like, how do you have so little to do that you're just standing there in place, waiting for this thing to take you down when you know full well that you could get to the bottom in like a quarter of the time?
Not everybody is in such a rush, Justin. Some people like to live in leisure.
Do you like to live in leisure?
No, absolutely not. I walk with a purpose. I live with a purpose.
Right when we step out, I see like the neon lights of Cheaper Than Cheap Shop a Lot Boxing Week sale. And something about me is drawn to it over the protests of others. And we spend at least like 30 to 40 minutes just wandering around that decrepit little store.
And it just had like a bunch of value stuff. There's a bunch of like really dirty, random things. It was like an old warehouse. But I went there because my cousin found a bunch of cool things there. I was like, I'll find cooler shit.
It's stuff that you'd see on like Alibaba, but you'd never actually buy. Like, you know those really big, obnoxious iPod touch cases? Like, who's gonna need that in 2021?
And so the only thing I really connect with that day was my Justin Timberlake head puzzle that I found. This is just an audio, but I'll describe it to you. It's just a foam puzzle of Justin Timberlake that I could take apart some days when I feel like I don't like him much. I don't know why I bought it, but it was the only recognizable cast member of NSYNC. It was $5. I kind of regret buying it. I don't even like him. Yeah, I found a lot of cool stuff there. A bunch of postcards and things that I never sent to anyone.
The best part about Cheaper Than Cheap Shop a Lot Boxing Week sale is that there's no real cashier. It's like one woman who's like carrying around a cash box.
I've never actually bought anything from there.
The first place I would place myself as is Imagine Cinemas. As a kid, I would always be like, oh, Cineplex movie theater is like so much better than Imagine Cinemas. But as I grew older, I realized that the movie theater, especially Cineplex, has been robbing me for years.
I think I asked Karen if she wanted to watch a movie. And you know, I'm normal, so I was thinking Silver City or like maybe even a theater in Vaughan if Silver City was busy. And she actually said no, like flat out no, because she said she's not paying Silver City prices. And I said, well, it's a theater, you have to pay theater prices. And she's like, no, you don't. So we ended up going to Woodbine Cinemas.
And the last time I actually went to go see a movie there was, I think it was Beauty and the Beast in like 2016. And there was just a bunch of seniors that were there, I think, and it was really quiet. And I was thinking to myself, this is like such a great time to go see a movie.
But I remember being shocked by how cheap the tickets were because it was technically a matinee show. So it was like $7. And the popcorn was really good.
We went, it was late at night. It was a packed theater. It was a new movie. It Chapter 2. Also a very long movie. It made the experience worse. I think. We get in, get the last row of seats, get the edge next to the door. There were teenagers. I didn't realize how much I didn't like teenagers because they kept making weird jokes. And then there was that one dude, that one person who kept leaving to take a phone call, and he left the door wide open so the light came in. You still hear him talk. Everyone was just so annoying. I was like, I don't know why I came. It was still an experience that I didn't hate.
But on the bright side, you never pay more than $7 for a movie ticket at Woodbine.
I just
And
walked
that
right in.
makes, yeah, you just walk right in. And it makes, wait, you didn't pay?
Yeah,
Wait, you
I
didn't pay?
did.
Oh, okay. Yeah, don't incriminate yourself now.
I mean, I guess nowadays there are really very few places in public that you can just exist for free. And like a mall, theoretically, you would think these are stores. This is the epitome of capitalism, and like you have to pay to exist there, but you don't necessarily have to do that.
I mean, I feel like we just don't have that many like community spaces. So the mall just tends to be like the go-to. Like even for kids, it's either the movie theater or the mall. Like first dates, movie theater or mall. Like it's just like one of the few options we have of like socializing and just being with people.
So like, I guess that's like, you know, a place that people can go, hang out, do your window shopping. But like if you leave without any bags in your hand, nobody's gonna judge you.
You've been listening to Woodbine, I Love You by me, Cameron Panu. This piece is a part of Fixed Point Arts and Media's Points of Empathy project made possible by the Canada Service Corps. Special thanks to Maddie, Will, Charles, Cohort 6 of the Empathy Squad, and to all the voices you just heard. This piece is dedicated to Woodbine Centre. Woodbine, I really, really do love you.
I don't think I've thought about Woodbine Centre in